The day the rain refused to stop was the same day the entire campus laughed at the girl pushing a rusty bicycle loaded with fresh oranges. Her school uniform was soaked, her shoes were torn, and muddy water splashed against her legs with every step. Students standing under expensive umbrellas pointed at her and whispered cruel jokes that quickly turned into loud laughter. Some secretly recorded videos while others mocked her without shame. They didn't know that every orange in that basket represented another meal for her sick mother, another chance to pay her tuition, another reason she refused to give up. They only saw a poor girl. They never saw the warrior hidden behind her silent tears. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can change lives and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that inspire the heart. Her name was Amara, and every morning began long before sunrise. While most students were still asleep, she was already helping her elderly grandmother arrange oranges into neat baskets. The small family lived in a tiny wooden house with a leaking roof at the edge of town. Her father had passed away years earlier after a long illness, leaving behind debts that swallowed every little income they had. Her mother worked tirelessly until sickness forced her to remain in bed. Suddenly, the responsibility of feeding the family rested on Amara's young shoulders. She never complained. She simply woke earlier, worked harder, and smiled whenever her mother looked worried. After selling oranges at the busy roadside market, she rushed to campus without breakfast, hoping she would not be late for lectures. The bicycle she rode had no brakes, the chain often slipped, and one tire constantly lost air. Yet every day she pedaled with determination because education was the only road she believed could lead her family out of poverty. Campus life was far from kind. Many students judged people by their clothes, phones, and cars. Amara owned none of those things. She wore the same faded uniform almost every day because she could not afford another one. Her backpack had been stitched together so many times that the thread was more visible than the original fabric. During lunch breaks, while others gathered in expensive cafes, she quietly sat beneath an old mango tree reviewing her notes with an empty stomach. Hunger had become a familiar companion, but so had hope. The nickname, Orange Seller, spread across the campus like wildfire. Some students shouted it whenever they saw her. Others laughed whenever she entered the classroom carrying the scent of fresh oranges. They believed they were being funny, never realizing how deeply their words cut. Every insult stayed with her long after the laughter faded. Still, she never answered with anger. She simply lowered her eyes and kept moving forward. One afternoon, after classes ended, heavy rain trapped everyone inside the lecture hall. As students waited for the weather to clear, Amara quietly walked outside toward her bicycle because she still needed to sell the remaining oranges before going home. The rain drenched her within seconds. Her classmates watched through the windows as she struggled to protect the fruit with an old plastic sheet. Instead of helping, many laughed again. Some even recorded another video to post online. But among the crowd stood one quiet student named Daniel. Unlike everyone else, he saw exhaustion instead of weakness. He noticed the bruises on her hands from lifting heavy baskets, the patched sleeves of her uniform, and the determination that never left her face. For the first time, someone truly looked beyond her poverty. Days passed, and Daniel secretly began leaving food near the tree where Amara usually studied. She never knew who placed the simple sandwiches there. Believing they had been forgotten, she accepted them with gratitude, whispering silent prayers for whoever had shown such kindness. Those small meals gave her strength during difficult afternoons when hunger threatened to overpower her concentration. Meanwhile, the videos mocking Amara continued spreading across social media. Thousands watched without knowing the full story. Many laughed alongside the students who filmed her. Yet something unexpected happened. An elderly woman recognized Amara in one of the clips. She had once been a teacher who knew Amara's late father, a hardworking man respected throughout the community. Saddened by what she saw, she shared the real story behind the young girl's struggle. Slowly, public opinion began to change. People who had mocked her started reading about her sacrifices. They learned she had never missed an examination despite working every morning. They discovered she consistently ranked among the top students in her department. They realized she was supporting an entire family while chasing an education that many others took for granted. Soon local newspapers featured her story. Community members organized donations, but Amara politely accepted only what she truly needed. She believed many others suffered even more than she did. Instead of asking for luxury, she requested help paying her mother's medical bills and her outstanding tuition fees. Her humility touched thousands of hearts. One professor who had quietly admired her dedication recommended her for a prestigious academic scholarship. The selection committee carefully reviewed her grades, community service, and personal story. Weeks later, a letter arrived at the university office. Amara had earned a full scholarship covering her education until graduation, along with a monthly allowance for living expenses. When the announcement echoed across the campus, silence replaced the laughter that had followed her for years. The same students who once mocked the orange seller suddenly understood the depth of her courage. Many lowered their heads in shame. Some approached her with sincere apologies. Others admitted they had judged her without ever knowing the battles she fought every single day. Amara accepted every apology with quiet grace. She carried no bitterness because she understood that hatred only creates more pain. Instead, she thanked everyone who had supported her journey, including those whose cruelty had unknowingly made her stronger. She believed forgiveness was heavier than revenge because it required true courage. Her mother's health gradually improved with proper treatment. Her grandmother smiled more often than she had in years. The small wooden house was repaired, not with luxury, but with dignity. For the first time in a long while, hope filled every corner of their humble home. Years later, Amara graduated at the top of her class with honors. She became a respected medical doctor determined to serve poor communities where healthcare remained a distant dream. Every weekend she returned to the same roadside market where she had once sold oranges, offering free medical checkups to struggling families who reminded her of her own childhood. Ironically, the bicycle that had carried countless baskets of oranges was never thrown away. She kept it carefully inside her clinic as a reminder that success is not measured by where someone begins, but by the strength they show along the journey. Whenever young students visited her, she pointed to that old bicycle and reminded them that dreams survive even when circumstances seem impossible. If this story has touched your heart so far, please support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with your friends and family, and subscribing for more inspiring stories that remind us never to judge a person by their appearance. Special request: before this story ends, tell us in the comments, what lesson did Amara's journey teach you, and have you ever been judged unfairly in your own life? The people who once laughed at the orange seller eventually realized that the poorest girl on campus possessed the richest heart among them all. She proved that humility is stronger than pride, perseverance is louder than mockery, and kindness always outlives cruelty. Her story reminds us that behind every worn-out uniform, every tired face, and every quiet smile, there may be a battle we cannot see. The greatest mistake we can make is judging someone's worth by what they own instead of who they are. Sometimes, the person carrying the heaviest burden is also carrying the brightest future, waiting patiently for the world to finally